Hello, everybody. Thanks for being here. Apologies, as yesterday we had some crazy weather here in Boston, and I lost power a couple of times off and on, and so I didn't want to risk trying to do a live yoga session and then be just like choppy and weird and have it not look good. So we're back today, Tuesday, April 14th. I'm very excited to lead you through yet another yoga for mental wellness. Again, my name is Shelby Dwyer. I'm one of the counselors over at University Health and Counseling Services. And today's practice, I'll just give you a little bit of an overview. We'll be focusing on a bit more of the heart meridian in Yin Yoga. And so if you've done a couple of these classes before, you'll know that Yin Yoga is more of a grounding, strength building, distress tolerance building practice, and usually it's more lower to the ground. The idea is that we're targeting the connective tissues in the body. So the fascia, which is this like webbing all across our body that weaves in and out through the muscles and the ligaments, it holds everything in place. So we aren't just kind of, sorry if this is gross, but we're not just like a blob of organs floating around in skin. That was so potentially gross, sorry. But it is also, fascia also holds the majority of the water and fluids within our body. And so targeting that, targeting those ligaments, the joints, in addition to the fascia, is a way of keeping our body strong and resilient, and a way of actually supporting our muscles, so that the practices we do, like a gym workout or running, if you've taken that up recently with the whole shelter in place, here at least in Boston, it's something, this practice is a nice complement to that. So again, I mentioned we'll be focusing on the heart meridian today. Meridians are lines of energy through the body according to traditional Chinese medicine, and Yin Yoga is rooted in traditional Chinese medicine. I won't go too much into detail, but the idea is that we are activating these meridians in the body. And you can imagine part of the heart meridian goes across the chest where your heart is. And the idea is that we are activating it and clearing out those energy channels so that energy can move more freely in the body. I know that finals are happening. It's the last day of classes today. There's a lot going on. And so I thought it might be nice to do a practice that focuses more on trusting ourselves and really listening to our intuition. So I will stop talking and we'll get started. You'll need a blanket and a pillow or a bolster. You can see that. And then 2 blocks or 2 textbooks works as well. And to start, we're actually going to be taking fish pose. And so you'll want your textbooks or your blocks with you. And one of your blocks is going to be positioned on the medium height. So this is lowest height, medium height. Oops, probably helpful. Lowest height, medium height, tallest height. You're going to position your block, one of them, or textbooks, on the medium height, somewhere maybe a quarter of the way down your mat. Your other block or book is going to be upright. If you're using textbooks, you might just grab a couple and stack them, but you might even just have one on the lowest height, kind of figure out what works for you, and I'll show you where we're going. So you'll find a seat somewhere on your mat, and then you'll lie back so that one of your blocks is hitting just under your shoulder blades. And you'll see you might have to fidget a little bit just to get it to a spot where it hits and kind of supports the shoulders. You can see I'm having to play with mine a bit. And then your other block will be on maybe the tallest height. If you want more of a heart opener and a throat opener as well, you can have your block on the medium height behind you. I'm going to do mine on the tallest height for a little more support. And then your arms can be stretched alongside you. Your legs can be bent or straight. Having straight legs might actually accentuate the arch in your spine and this like gentle back bend that we're experiencing. Feel free to keep the knees bent if you don't want as deep of a back bend here. You can bring your feet to the edges of your mat, knock your knees together, whatever works. Maybe rest your hands on your belly if you'd prefer. And then if you'd like, I'll invite you to close your eyes or maybe just focus on a point on your ceiling. And just take a moment to check in with yourself. And just notice where your breath is moving in your body. Maybe you've been sitting at your desk all day. Maybe your breath is more calm. Or maybe you've been just out for a run or a jog or doing some type of home exercise. So maybe in that case, your breath would be a bit more quick. Notice if it feels more comfortable to breathe in and out through your nose, or maybe in through the mouth and out, in through the nose and out through the mouth. In this shape, as I mentioned, it is a back bend. It's also a heart opener, and you might feel an opening or an expansion across your chest, maybe even across the front line of your body. Your ribs kind of splay a bit more and wing out to the sides. Depending on the placement of your arms, if you have your arms alongside you, you might even feel a slight arch in your upper spine. So the shoulder blades just naturally with gravity sort of melt together down towards the floor. Depending on the height of your block, maybe there's also an opening across the throat, stimulating the thyroid, or maybe just stimulating the throat chakra and the throat meridian. This is also a really nice pose to do if you've been hunched over a computer for a while. Hello, last week of classes and finals. Start to maybe deepen your breath. See if you can breathe in from maybe the pit of your belly, allowing your belly to fill and expand, allowing the ribs to expand and wing out to the sides as you breathe in. Maybe the chest even lifts a little. And then exhale, allow everything to soften, belly to contract. Belly button sinks gently back towards the spine. Again, deep, full breath in from the belly. Maybe sigh out the mouth. Again, big breath in. And sigh it out. Listen, nobody's watching. I can't see you, so sighs and moans and groans, all that can be really useful. You've been here for a few minutes, so maybe shift the placement of your arms or your legs if you'd like. Maybe extending the legs long, letting your feet relax, the legs relax. Continuing to take full, deep breaths in and out through the nose or in and out through your mouth. Maybe in through the nose and sighing out the mouth. Can you tune into the space in your chest where your heart is? You might even bring one hand to your chest just to kind of have a deeper awareness of that space. Can you imagine that a beautiful, bright green light is emanating from that space in your chest where your heart is? And pick, I said bright, but pick whatever shade of green feels appealing to you in this moment or comes naturally. Imagine that light first just glowing beautifully in your chest. And slowly imagine that light beginning to spread through your belly, through your arms, spreading over your whole torso, your neck, your head, your legs, your feet, your hands. Allowing yourself to be enveloped in this glowing, healing green light and energy. Maybe it even pulsates with your breath. Green is the color associated with the heart chakra. And we're focusing on the heart meridians, but the heart chakra is also totally related. Take a few more deep, full inhales and exhales. Slowly gather that green energy and glowing light back into your heart space. Maybe allowing it to still glow subtly during your practice. When you feel ready, with a soft gaze, gently come up onto your elbows for just a moment. Back flush against your mat, and maybe hug the knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a squeeze, rock from side to side. You're gonna have lots of sighs maybe today. And then bringing your feet to the edges of your mat, allow the hips to be really heavy here and allow your back to be fully flush against the mat beneath you. Maybe hands rest on your belly and just pause for a moment. Notice if you experience any change in sensation across your spine, change in sensation across your chest. It's a good time to check in with your breath and see if you can still maintain those deep and expansive inhales and exhales. Take one more big, deep breath in and let it go. Walk your feet so that they are, I don't know if that made sense, and then lift your hips up and over to the left side of your mat. Hug your knees into your chest and then allow the knees to drop over towards the right, keeping your shoulders flush against the mat. You might find that a blanket in between your knees can be a really nice support if the knees are maybe far apart. But here, this is called a supine twist. Your gaze can be towards the ceiling or perhaps gazing over to the left, so opposite the direction of your knees. Arms maybe could be in a goalpost shape, maybe reaching overhead. Maybe the arms rest on your torso. The arms in a goalpost shape or overhead are potentially going to activate the heart meridians, which also run through both arms. And so find what works. Tuck your chin toward your chest, lifting your head for a moment, and then lower your head back down, just so that your chin and forehead are parallel with the ground beneath you, and that helps protect your cervical spine, the back of your neck. And so here in this shape, this supine twist, you may feel an opening across the left side of your ribs. Maybe there's a sensation of heaviness or pressure in the outer right hip. You might even feel a subtle opening across your chest if your heart is facing towards the ceiling. Wherever you are, maybe you breathe into the belly again, and also breathe into the left side of your ribs. You might even bring a hand to your left ribs to encourage the breath to flow there, just massaging all those internal organs. We'll be here for about another minute or so. I didn't say this yet, but if you play around with knees, moving them closer to your right shoulder, or maybe straightening the legs just a little, notice how that shifts the stretch you might feel across the spine. It also straighter legs might actually activate a stretch across the top of your left thigh, the side of your left thigh and left hip, or that IT band. So notice what placement feels best for your body. As you feel ready, long, deep breath in. And sigh out. Gently remove any props that you're using in this shape. Lift your knees up towards center. Bring your hips back towards center. Maybe again, hug the knees in toward your chest. Maybe extend the legs up towards the ceiling. I don't know about you, but I have recently suddenly become a runner since everything is going on and we can't go to the gym. And I don't necessarily have workout here in my house other than my yoga practice. And I recently have been running a lot more, and I find that this pose is like heaven after a run. So I highly recommend it. It's also a really supportive way of doing this pose. Could be up against your bed or up against a wall. Sometimes the legs can get a little tired, especially if they've been running. Whenever you feel ready, lower your legs down, lower the feet, and now you'll lift your hips up and over to the left, allowing the knees to drop over towards I messed up. Allow the knees to drop up and over to the left. Your hips are towards the right, Again, if you find that the knees are a bit far apart, you can always bring a blanket in between your knees. And shoulders can be flush against your mat, so an opening through your chest. Maybe the arms are in a goalpost shape above your head. Maybe you extend the arms long overhead. Arms could also rest on your torso. It might be nice to have one hand on the right side of your ribs so that you can really direct your breath there. You might hear my cat crying. I might have to let him in. Gaze can be towards the ceiling or maybe gazing opposite your knees, so towards the right. If your gaze is towards the ceiling, remember to protect your neck and lift your head, tuck your chin toward your chest, and then lower your head back down so that the chin and forehead are parallel to the floor. You might feel a twist through your spine here, maybe a broadening through the chest. Recall that your knees closer to your left shoulder will expand and actually enhance the twist that you might feel in your spine. Having legs a bit more straight will target more of that outer right hip, that outer right thigh, the IT band. I didn't give us the full overview of Yin Yoga at the start of our practice, so I'll pepper it in as we go. But as you've noticed, in Yin Yoga, we take a shape and we find our relative edge in that shape. And so it's a point where we feel some sensation. For example, right now, potentially a twist across your spine, maybe that stretch upon the outer right leg, that outer right thigh, right hip. We come into a shape, we find our edge, that place where we feel some discomfort and some sensation, and then we hold for time in relative stillness. And that's what allows us to target those connective tissues in the body. So you can think of it like braces. And there are brackets on teeth and then a wire that holds, presses and applies pressure to the teeth. And that consistent, sustained pressure is what shifts the teeth. If you were to wiggle a tooth back and forth, that's not good. So it's very similar to that, where we're holding for a period of time while applying this consistent stress and pressure on specific points of the body. And that actually strengthens those connective tissues. It keeps them healthy and lubricated and therefore juicy and youthful and able to support our muscles and our bones. So we'll be here for about another minute or so. How is your breath? Can you breathe into those right side ribs? As you feel ready, big, deep breath in and sigh it out. Slowly lift the knees back up to center. Bring your hips back to center. And again, you might hug the knees in toward your chest, maybe curl up into a little ball. Rock from side to side, just kind of massage out your spine. If it felt good and you want to do it again, you can always extend your legs up towards the ceiling, keeping a slight bend. You'll notice that in between sides, we take these more neutral shapes and pause for about a minute. And these are the resonance rebound poses. The idea is that we come into this more neutral shape so that all of the connective tissues in the body can integrate the movement we've just done, but also return to their more habitual state. If your legs are lifted towards the ceiling, gently hug them in toward your chest. And then we'll all curl over to one side for just a moment, maybe propping your head on your forearm. And tune into your body for a moment and just see if there's any lingering tension from your day or your weekend or your Monday. I know it's Tuesday, but yesterday was Monday. See if there's any tension or sensation that you might be able to release for the rest of this practice. As you feel ready, begin to use the arms to push your torso upright. And you'll want your bolster or pillow with you, perhaps near the top of your mat. You might use a blanket to support your knees. And now this pose is quarter dog pose. And so what we'll be doing is we'll be resting a forearm on the bolster or pillow, and then one arm will be extended forward, but our hips will actually be lifted above our knees. And so you can start with your left forearm resting on the bolster. You might have to sort of reposition your knees, and you'll allow your heart and your belly to really sink forward and down toward your mat. And your right arm can reach overhead, maybe just kind of hanging and dangling on your mat. Press into your knees to really allow for some support in your low back. You might even press into the tops of your feet here. But if you can, consciously just really let your heart melt forward. Maybe the shoulders melt forward. See, I actually was holding tension, so I could even melt a little bit further. It's a balance, this pose, of support and release. So if there are areas of your body that you can soften, can you trust that the other parts of your body will support you? So here in this shape, there might be a nice stretch underneath the armpits, or in the armpits, so under the arms. Maybe there's some pressure in the knees, or your shins. Might even be some compression in the low back. You might even experience some pressure in the left shoulder. Take a big, deep breath in. And exhale. slowly use the arms to walk yourself up for a moment. Maybe sit your hips back toward your heels for just a moment. You might even rest your hands on your thighs. Maybe close your eyes for just a moment. Tune into that heart space as we were just allowing the heart to melt forward towards the floor. That pose can feel a bit vulnerable for some, and so perhaps right now you can maybe reassure your heart space that it's safe. Whenever you feel ready, we're going to move on to the other side. So bringing our right forearm down onto our bolster or pillow and extending our left arm forward, maybe overhead. Again, hips will be over the knees and your your head can rest on the back of your right forearm. And again, the belly, the heart will really just melt towards the ground. You might feel a gentle, well, I shouldn't say gentle, but you might feel some sensation across your spine as you're in a bit of a back bend here. Maybe some compression in the low back near where the sacrum is. You might feel some pressure in that right shoulder. But again, wherever you are, can you allow your heart and your belly to soften, relax, and move forward and down toward the earth? Maybe pressing into the knees, pressing into the tops of your feet and your shins to support your spine. Know from the first side that we won't be here for too long. So see if you can breathe into the spaces of discomfort here. Take a long, deep breath in. Gently exhale. Use your arms to prop your torso upright. You can move your bolster or pillow off to the side. And then perhaps with the knees close together or knees about mat's width distance apart, allow your hips to sink back toward your heels. And then reach your arms long, allowing again the chest to melt towards the earth. Coming into a child's pose. If you find that your hips are far away from your heels, bringing that pillow or blanket in between your hips and heels is a nice support for the hips. In addition, a nice way to support the neck is bringing a block or a textbook underneath your forehead. Wherever you are, can you breathe deeply into your belly? Really feeling maybe that sensation of your belly expanding and touching your thighs. If you've got your knees wide apart, you might feel some pressure in the hip flexors. Maybe even some pressure in the hips as they sit backwards and are heavy toward your heels. You might feel an expansion across the low back, maybe across the glutes. You might feel a spreading and elongation of the spine as you round it forward. You breathe deeply here into the low back. Maybe trying to imagine that the breath could massage the low spine, the sacrum. Maybe the breath reaches deep in the belly. Having your arms outstretched in front of you is uncomfortable, or your arms start to get cold or numb, you can always allow them to drape alongside you, fingertips facing toward your heels, coming into an embryo shape. One other option is sort of like a hugging child's pose. If you bring the knees to the edges of your mat, you can thread your hands through your legs toward your feet, and then resting back down. I like to sort of call this cocoon child's, because it feels like you're in a cocoon. So again, arms can be extended forward or draped alongside you or in this shape, whatever feels most comfortable for you. Take a few more deep, full breaths here. Really allowing the body to settle and feel supported by the earth beneath you. Take a long, deep breath in and let it go. Inhale, use the arms to prop your torso back upright. And then for a moment, maybe continue sitting on the heels. If it would feel better, you can always extend your legs forward on the mat in front of you. Whatever kind of feels more comfortable. Wherever you are, invite in any kind of movement that feels like it could be a bit restorative for a moment. Bringing everything back to balance. Excuse me. And then wherever you are, you'll make your way onto your belly, and you'll want one of your blocks or books with you at one end of your mat, wherever your head will be. And first, just come to lie down and take Crocodile Pose. So you'll stack your forearms and stack your hands one on top of the other, maybe resting your forehead on the back of your hands. To allow for a little bit more space in the hip flexors, I like to point one of my toes on one of my legs and then really engage all the muscles in that leg and imagine that someone's pulling my leg from behind me, just so I kind of lift it and imagine that someone's pulling to create a little bit more space, then lowering that leg, Going on to the other side, pointing the toes, really engaging all those muscles, imagining someone's pulling my leg, and then allowing it to release. Maybe shimmying the hips from side to side as well to allow for a little more space. As you feel ready, you'll come up onto your forearms. And your forearms will be parallel. So it'll be like the number 11 in your arms. Fingers will be spread wide. And where your elbows are in terms of distance from your shoulders is going to really be important here. So the further your elbows are away from your shoulders, the less of a back bend and compression you'll feel in your low spine. The closer your elbows are to being underneath your shoulders, the more compression you'll feel in that low back. The placement of your legs is also important here. The closer the feet are behind you, the more, again, compression you'll feel in the low spine. The wider your legs are apart, the less compression you'll feel. So find what works for you. Again, elbows are parallel, wrists are parallel, forearms, fingers spread wide. If you'd like, you can bring your block in between your hands to rest your forehead on. This can be a nice way to provide support so that the head doesn't have to be, upright, really strong, and the neck can relax a bit. Can you breathe deeply again into your belly and notice how that might actually massage out your low back and maybe offer a bit of a reprieve from the intensity that you might be experiencing there. If you choose to not use a block or a book and just keep your head upright, gaze can be about a few inches in front of your fingertips. Maybe chin moves slightly toward your chest, just so that your spine, your cervical spine, and the rest of your spine are in line. Can you imagine that beautiful green glowing light is emanating from your heart space here as your chest moves and presses forward through your shoulders and your upper arms? Maybe the shoulder blades hugged gently together. You've been here for a few minutes, so feel free to play around with perhaps the distance of your arms, or maybe where your feet are behind you. Again, bringing the elbows closer to underneath the shoulders will increase the sensation along your spine. Moving the arms further away will decrease that intensity. Really allow the muscles in your legs and your torso and even your forearms just to relax, and allow your bones to really support you here. Trust that your body will support itself. Trust that the ground beneath you will support your body. Take a long, deep breath in. Exhale, gently lower your head down, maybe resting your forehead on the back of your hands or turning your cheek to one side. You might bend your knees and allow the legs to swish back and forth, sort of like a windshield wiper. You might roll out the ankles, point and flex your toes. Lowering the legs as you feel it's necessary. Then allowing yourself again that moment of pause, that resonance and rebound pose. Allowing the low back to settle, the vertebra in your spine to just return to their perhaps habitual state in this shape, lying on the ground. So before we move into Shavasana, if you'd like, you can do a bit of a shoulder stretch. And I'm going to offer a couple of variations here. So one which may not be as intense as the other variation I'm going to offer is to come back up in that Sphinx shape. And then bringing your left elbow towards the center of your mat, palm or hand facing towards the ceiling, reaching towards the ceiling. And then bringing your right elbow to rest across the left. Maybe the back of your hands touch. Maybe hands can hold each other. You can hold hands. And then you could potentially walk the elbows, hello shoulders, away from your body. And notice how that might increase the stretch across the shoulders. You can rest your head maybe on top of your biceps. Another option is, again, a bit more intense, but you would bring hopefully you can see this, your right arm will extend out directly from your shoulder, and then you'll begin to roll yourself over onto your side, coming onto your right side of your body. You might bend your left knee and press your left hand into the ground in front of your face. So it's twisting and also applying pressure to that right shoulder. But again, that is definitely a much more intense stretch across that right shoulder. Wherever you are, can you breathe into that space in your shoulders where you feel that intensity or that stretch or that compression? We won't be here for too long, less than a minute here. Can you allow the muscles in your arms to relax? Your shoulder blades to relax as best they can. If you are having your arms intertwined, you can gently unwind them and rest again full on your mat, maybe turning your head to the opposite side. If you were in that straight arm twist, gently roll back towards center and again, turn your head to one side or rest your head on the back of your hands. But take notice of your right and left shoulders and just kind of sense if you feel a difference between each shoulder. Does anything feel a bit more relaxed, a bit more open? Maybe you can still sense some pulsating energy in one of your shoulders, along the arms. So I'm rotating just so that I can demo the arm stretch on the other side. And if you'd like to take that sort of vine-like arms, you can come up again to Sphinx pose. And this time bring your right arm, right elbow to the center of your mat, hand reaching towards the ceiling. Left arm, left elbow kind of rests in the right. And then maybe the back of your hands touch. Maybe the hands can hold each other. Maybe they're intertwined. You might move the elbows a little bit further away from your shoulders, just playing around with the sensation. Head can rest against your hands or your wrists, or your chin can rest on your biceps. So that's variation one. Another variation would be to extend. Let's see, we did our right arm, so we'll do our left arm. So that left arm extends directly straight out from the shoulder. Then we begin to curl up, roll over onto that left side, maybe bending our left knee. Excuse me, right knee. No, left knee, sorry. And then that right hand can maybe press into the mat in front of your face. And notice how this is a potentially very deep and intense stretch across the inner shoulder, maybe even across your chest. So find which variation feels more useful and accessible to you in this moment. And again, knowing that we will not be here for that long, maybe about a minute or so. Again, can you breathe into any sensation that you might be experiencing in your shoulders, or across your chest, across the upper back? Recall your ability to breathe deeply into your belly as well, massaging out your low spine. As you feel ready, take a big, deep breath in. Exhale, gently unwind from wherever you are, and then just immediately flip over onto your back. You might bring a blanket to cover yourself up, or maybe drape across your torso. Maybe doing a weighted blanket hack and bringing a pillow on top of your torso. And then fidget as much as you need to in these first few moments, making sure that you're protecting the back of your neck by lifting your head, lowering the chin toward your chest, lowering the head back down. Allow your legs to be relaxed, your feet to be relaxed. Maybe arms extend long alongside you. If you'd like, For a moment, we'll do a brief breath exercise to continue to reinvigorate and enliven the heart meridian. As you inhale, you'll close your palms into fists. As you exhale, allow the palms to gently blossom open. Inhale, fists. Exhale, open. Inhale, fists. Exhale, open. Inhale. And exhale. Allow the movement to match your breath. Taking a couple more rounds at your own pace. And whenever you feel complete, allowing your breath to be natural and without effort. Allowing your palms to be relaxed. Your chest is relaxed and soft. Your jaw is soft. Your eyes are heavy in their sockets. Your forehead is smooth. If you have any of your props on top of you, you might shift them off to the side for a moment. And if you'd like, with your eyes closed still, maybe a soft gaze, bring your left hand to rest over your heart, fingers spread wide. Right hand rests on top of left. Again, fingers spread wide, applying a little bit of pressure. Offer yourself some gratitude for making the time in your day to engage in this practice. Offer your heart some gratitude for allowing you to tap into your trust muscle and your intuition. Offer gratitude to all the effort that you do every day in your life, the effort that you put into this semester, even when circumstances have been so unpredictable and things have shifted so rapidly. Honor your resilience, your ability to adapt. And trust that you will continue to build your resilience and continue to adapt in any way that you need to. Slowly begin to curl over onto one side, curling up into a ball on your side, maybe eyes closed or a soft gaze. Pause for a moment on your side. And then slowly, using the arms, prop yourself up to come into a seated position. Maybe again, eyes closed or a soft gaze. When you feel ready, big breath in and sigh it out. Again, big breath in. Let it go. Once more, make it count. Big breath in. And let it go. Slowly open your eyes. Come back to your space. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I hope that you feel your heart and your green glowing energy support you through the rest of your week. You've got this. You're in the final stretch. You've made it through probably one of the toughest semesters. We are so proud of you. I am so proud of you. So please take good care of yourselves, and we won't have class on the 20th because it's a holiday, but we'll resume on the 27th. So hope to see you here live. Thanks so much. Bye. Oh, thank you.